This year-and-a-half long journey back home has been a pretty bizarre and lesson-filled experience for us. If you guys also follow other off-grid channels, you'll notice this one hasn't quite had the same flow of jumping straight into building a cabin, growing food, and setting up a bunch of systems for being self-sustainable. I guess that's how it goes with natural disasters. After the floods came through and literally and metaphorically rained on our parade, we were back to step one of setting up another off-grid van. But somehow, even after seeing the whole place go under almost 3 meters of water and then becoming completely overrun with weeds, it still felt more like home than anywhere else we've lived. And even though there's been some highs and lows, the whole time we've held on to our vision that has finally made its way into the real world as this bizarre, unfinished pyramid-looking mound that will keep us all safe during the biggest of floods. And to wrap up this part of the journey, we'd like to share with you some of the highlights and inspiring lessons we gained while staying at 5 other farms that have given us a whole new perspective and a lot of valuable experience. Working on a 500 hectare macadamia farm had us driving around on a little buggy and planting, staking and pruning macadamia trees. I really enjoyed being surrounded by plants and having some really breathtaking views. But the main perspective shift from this experience was seeing how, mostly by foot, we were able to cover such large areas of the plantation. It showed me that what we think we're capable of is somewhat relative to what the normal thing is considered to be. Because when we bought our land with an overgrown 2 hectare tea tree plantation, we thought, holy crap, how will we ever harvest that on our own? Now, having seen what 500 hectares look like, we know we have more than what it takes to make it work. Working on an edible flower and herb farm had us surrounded by flowers all the time. And it was a bittersweet kind of thing because even though they were so pretty, there were just so many to pick and take care of. So to make the work easier, we got busy setting up drip-fed irrigation systems to automate the process of watering everything. After seeing several hundred pots being watered all at once from just turning on a tap, we knew this was something we needed to get good at. And we've even already had a go at this exact thing with our bushfire safety irrigation system that's currently helping our grass seeds to sprout so the mound surface is stabilized against erosion. It's unreal seeing 6 sprinklers pop out of the ground to do what is essentially equivalent to 6 people watering all at once. Next up, there was a farm where we stayed for just a couple of weeks on our way to Elands, where I met farmer Joe. Joe taught us that as a farmer, you don't necessarily need to have hundreds of acres of produce and expensive machinery to be able to make a living. Joe had just a couple of decent-sized greenhouses where he planted everything by hand, used a simple formula for fertilizer of just adding some chicken poo to the soil, and he sold his produce at the local markets. This instantly inspired me to do something similar when we finally return home, so that we can grow food without nasty chemicals and to take joy in small things like seeing seeds sprouting or the first tomatoes making their way into the world. A fun and quirky farm in Elands was our next destination, where we spent a lot of time with animals and where I also got my machinery hours up while mowing and seeding a bunch of paddocks so the cows can have fresh, tasty grass to eat. But the main thing that inspired us was that the farm always had new visitors that came to stay either in exchange for volunteering or for a really reasonable fee. The place was always buzzing with life, and there were even a few people that came as large groups to celebrate birthdays. It was also really nice to see some kiddos getting amongst nature and taking a break from all the technology that this world is now so full of. So visiting Elands taught us that being able to share our land with others is easier than we thought by using the HipCamp platform. And we look forward to one day soon opening up our place to visitors when we finish tidying up. Our last stop was at a farm just down the road from our place where the owner ran an earth-moving machinery business, and as you can imagine, I was pretty keen on learning all about using machines and moving dirt. So this final stop for us was one where I learned the most by far, because coincidentally we were looking to dig a dam and to build a mound to be flood safe at our place, and that is exactly what was happening on this farm too. Both Paul and Brian have been in the game probably longer than I've been alive, so I'm very grateful I was able to pick their brains with the many questions we had. Thanks to these legends, we learned how to estimate the volumes of materials required for our project, and Paul even taught me how to drive a tipper truck, which ended up saving us about $500 per day during the mound build, with me driving the truck. So another really cool thing I learned, probably mostly from Brian, is using naturally occurring materials all around us to make our lives easier, as opposed to just always buying stuff from the shops. Like for example, digging steps on a really steep hill so that we don't fall over when it's wet, or even using a piece of bark to redirect water so that you don't erode the slope. And even the sprinklers you guys saw on our mound, that was actually something Paul said one day, just casually, but as soon as I heard that, I knew we'd create that at our property one day. All in all, I think it's needless to say that this experience of being displaced, in a way, has made us better off than if things were easier and we just stayed here the whole time. I think that's what people mean when they say that tough times are opportunities for growth. And really, the main message I wish to share in this video is that getting your hands dirty and trying out a bunch of different workplaces is a really good way to fast-track learning and a great way to gain confidence in your ideas and your capabilities, and it'll help you to think in new and more diverse ways. And of course, as you guys may have guessed already, we've had another litter of puppies while all of these projects were underway, just to add to the chaos. It was a pretty special moment to see this much cuteness make its way into this world. And these are some of the shots we got before the pups went to their new families. Oi, get back here.
We're very excited to finally be home. It feels surreal standing here on this massive hill that was once just a crazy idea in our heads. With time, this place will continue to evolve and become more beautiful as all the green grass returns, the dam fills up, and we begin to plant our food forest. In the meantime, we look forward to sharing our most recent projects with you guys to add to the pool of knowledge out there about building dams, mounds, and irrigation systems. It's been a while between episodes for us, but we've just finished sorting through about 800 videos from the last 4 months. So there's some really cool content coming, and we'll see you all in the next episode very soon.